Would you call the roll, please?
Robert Kraus,
Present.
Jason Blair,
Here.
Kathy Griffith,
Here.
Terry Kavner, David Roberts,
Here.
Mark Ham,
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 2 is the consent docket. Item A is approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held July 16, 2012. Item B is accept the minutes of the planning commission meeting held June 12, 2012. Item C is approve community intervention center partnership and service provider agreement for FY 2012-2013 with Crossroads Youth and Family Services in the amount of $40,000. Item D is ratify approval of a lot split for the Shops at Moore located in the northwest quarter of Section 26, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being south of Southwest 19th Street and east of I-35. Item E is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2011-2012 in the amount of $916,238.73 and FY 2012-2013 in the amount of $1,441,152.65. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Did you guys get all your questions answered on the claims? Any notes or changes to the minutes? If not, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 3 is consider the final plat of Santa Fe Commercial Park, Phase 3, located in the northwest quarter of Section 2, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being south of Southwest 4th Street and east of Santa Fe Avenue. Application by Southwest 4th and Santa Fe LTD. Bill Hayes. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 7-0. This is in Ward 3.
Mayor and Council, this property is zoned C3. It's currently vacant. The applicant is in the process of marketing the property for general commercial uses, and he is now seeking final plat approval for 5 lots. So this plat will take in the remaining property of the Santa Fe Commercial Edition that's already been started with some development along 4th Street that you can see today. Public water and sanitary sewer are available to the site. They must be extended to serve each of the individual lots. Although there is no FEMA designated floodplain located on the site, there is a significant drainage channel that is located along the east property line, and adequate drainage easements must be provided to ensure the proper maintenance of that channel. Access is proposed from Santa Fe Avenue that has recently been widened to meet the city's urban arterial roadway standards. The developer does propose to limit the curb cuts along Santa Fe with this phase to 2 curb cuts along Santa Fe. The 3 rear lots are provided access through 2 shared access easements. There is no street frontage to Santa Fe Avenue. This developer has provided with a site layout that you might have in front of you. It's in black and white, but I think you can still read it. The developer is proposing to construct common access drives along 2 of them, just on the north and south of the property along Santa Fe, and that would then access those 3 lots in the rear. The developer is proposing to construct those access drives with 6-inch concrete with rebar. That does meet the approval for staff for adequate drive construction. But I should note that this has really just been reviewed for access and circulation. Whenever we actually get the building permits, we will be more specific in our review of how many parking spaces there are. Is there enough landscaping shown here? But this was really just meant for you as just to review. Staff recommends approval of this final plat. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any idea what businesses are gonna go in?
The developer is here to answer any of those questions, but I will say that there is currently under construction a counseling center along 4th Street, and he does have one of these lots pre-sold for a surgical center, so it seems to be developing as a medical complex. But it is zoned C3, so obviously anything that meets those zoning requirements can go in there.
Okay.
Make a
Anybody
motion
else?
to, go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? It's gonna be a nice project. So, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 5 is consider rezoning application. Excuse me, am I in 4?
4.
Sorry. Consider rezoning application RZ 889 located in the northeast quarter of section 30, township 10 north, range 2 west, being south of Southeast 19th Street and west of Sunny Lane Road from C5 Automotive and Commercial Recreation District to C5 PU Automotive and Commercial Recreation District with a permissive use for automotive storage, and approve ordinance number 72212, application by Keepsake Self-Storage, Lynn Medford. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 7-0. This is in Ward 1.
Mayor and Council, this property is located south of Southeast 19th Street. It's along the west side of Sunny Lane Avenue, and it is currently developed as the Keepsake Mini Storage. The applicant is proposing to add the use of automotive and equipment storage to the existing phase to allow for the outside storage of cars, boats, and RVs. The applicant is proposing to limit the storage of vehicles to the existing pipeline easement that's located in the north half of Lot 1 of this addition. That pipeline easement is for a gas pipeline, and the covenants do require for that easement to remain undeveloped. He's only allowed to have gravel along the pipeline. That's for safety reasons, so they can check it. However, they have agreed to allow for automotive storage because the automobiles would be movable. So the applicant is requesting this. He feels like it would be a temporary situation where, as he continues to develop his mini storage, that the cars would then be removed. However, even if that is not the case, as that area continues to develop, just the development of the mini storage would actually shield the cars that are being stored from Sunny Lane and 19th Street. So staff does recommend approval of this application. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Hey, do we have any, I don't know if you park a car in your neighborhood, it has to be maintained, no flat tires, tags up to date. Do we have anything like that if it's stored? Could it be sitting up on blocks? Could it begin to look like a salvage yard?
No, they would need to be operable vehicles. And if they're not operable, then you do get into a use of salvage yard, and that's a completely different zoning classification, and they would have to come before this body again. So they need to be operable. That doesn't mean they have to be pretty,
Right.
but they have to be operable.
So do we require site-proof fencing?
No, in C5, we don't normally require site-proof fencing. The applicant has described some chain link fencing, and he is here if you have more questions about what he's proposing.
I know, probably like Councilman Ham, this thought runs through my mind and seeing these cars beat down with weeds and the grass growing up all around them and stuff, and so I'd be concerned of that happening. You know, I don't want to take away from the value of the area out there, but
If he's here, the applicant, I mean, do you have any plans for that, or just a chain link fence, or are you gonna?
It's a.
Come up to the podium, sir.
As far as having junk out there, it's not gonna be that way. It'll devalue what I've already got and what my plans are for future building site. I've already hauled in probably 12 semi-loads of rock out there, so, it has to be maintained with rock anyway. As far as letting weeds get up and growing around things, no, that's not gonna happen.
okay.
Cause I own it and operate it, so. Been in business over 35 years, I don't make trash.
Well, we appreciate it. Just, we want to make sure that stuff stays nice around here, so.
Right.
So,
Oh, I understand. I do. Any
Make-
other questions?
That's it.
I make a motion to approve them. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? Anybody opposed? If not, would you call for the vote?
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 5 is consider rezoning application number RZ 890 located in the northeast quarter of Section 12, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being south of Northeast 27th and west of Bryan Avenue from A1 Rural Agricultural District to R1 Single Family Dwelling District, and approve ordinance number 72312, application by Affinity Development Group, LLC, Brandon Waller. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 7-0. This is in Ward 2.
Mayor and Council, items number 5 and 6 on your agenda are companion items, so I'll discuss them together. This site is located south of Northeast 27th Street. It's along the west side of Bryant Avenue. It's currently undeveloped. The applicant is proposing to develop the property as a single-family subdivision with 112 lots on 29 acres, and that is a density of approximately 4 lots per acre. To accommodate this use, the applicant must rezone the property from agriculture to R1 single-family dwelling district. Public water and sewer is located along Bryant Avenue and Northeast 27th Street. Public sewer is located also on Northeast 27th Street, and access will be provided by Bryant Avenue and Northeast 27th Street. There is no floodplain located on this property. This property is currently designated in the Moore Vision 2020 as low-density residential district, and R1 uses are considered to be compatible with that designation. Therefore, this rezoning application does comply with the current Moore Vision 2020. The plat does consist of 112 lots. The access is proposed from Northeast 27th Street, and that would be a divided median. It would be considered the main entryway into the addition. There is another entryway on North Bryant that would be considered a secondary regular residential street access. Staff is requesting a street stub to access the property to the south for future development. And the preliminary plat shows an access drive for the existing KTOK radio towers to the south in a common area. Because this drive doesn't really provide no benefits or usefulness to the addition or those residents, staff recommends that this be deleted from the plat, seeing as it shouldn't be their responsibility to maintain that drive. I should note that due to the elevations on the south end of this property, sanitary sewer will likely be in the front yards on the southernmost street. We do allow this in certain situations. There's usually no adverse effects from that. It's just part of the way that the property is situated. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning application and the preliminary plat. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, a while ago you said to delete the road and the maintenance on to the KTOK towers. We're going to do that?
Well, right now it's a dirt road. They use it to get in and out of the KTOK property. They do have to maintain that or keep that road there. Obviously, the radio towers need to have access. However, for some reason, that road is included in this plat as a common area. So what that means is that the residents would be required to maintain this area, and we certainly wouldn't want to encourage access to this road from those lots. We feel like it would be better administered in the future if we were just to delete this roadway from the plat.
Mm-hmm.
It would then just be, it would still be there, but it wouldn't be part of this addition.
How will they get to the towers?
Well, the road would still be there, because it's there already.
Just
Okay.
deleting it on paper from the plat. but
Right.
leaving
It
it
just
there.
wouldn't
When
be
you
shown
delete
as
it
part
off
of the
the
plat.
plat, then it's not on there. They don't have to do anything, take the road out. How are you going to get people back to the to the towers to work on them if you take the road out?
You're not taking the road out, though.
Well, you're not taking the road out, but you're taking it off the plat. If you take it off the plat, you can take it off the road. You can take the road out. Isn't that right, Cale?
Well, we'd have to go through a process of vacation.
But there's
Yeah.
not a public road there. There's just an ownership strip of 30, 40, 50 feet back there that won't be included in the plat, but still will be there and owned by whoever owns the KTOK towers, right?
Correct.
Okay, so KTOK owns the roadway.
They have an easement on it,
Easement,
yes. And so
So
we are just saying to take
We're-
that
We're
easement.
keep the easement, but we're
Right.
taking the road off the, okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Sorry, I was just confused.
Yes.
Elizabeth, how big are the homes gonna be on average?
The developer is here. I'll let him answer that
Yeah, I'd like
question.
to hear these, yeah. While you're coming up, I'd like to get an idea of kind of the size and kind of value of the homes for that area.
We're gonna have a minimum square footage of 1,500 square feet.
1,500, okay.
You know, pretty much just like, you know, a pretty common neighborhood, 70% brick. I think that'd be about it.
What kind of price range do you think homes like that will be in that area?
Excuse me, I'm
What kind
sorry.
of price range will homes be like that in that area?
Oh, you're looking anywhere from 160 and up.
Okay.
And, you know, we're working with a couple of different local builders and, you know, kind of depending on what direction they want to go in, but we're gonna set the minimum at 1,500.
All right. Thank you.
And it's how many houses?
112.
Okay. All right. Thanks, appreciate you putting it more.
Was there any kind of opposition or, to the rezoning?
There's no
No,
one
there
signed
was
up.
no citizens present at the planning commission. We received very few calls. The ones we did were mainly just asking information, and they were from Oklahoma City.
Okay.
What about, I would just be curious, and I've since learned that this section of the road is in Oklahoma City. It's, Bryant, north of 27th, about a quarter-mile section of road that's in really horrible condition. And I had seen that the Clayton County District 1 has been doing some work on 104th or our 27th between Bryant and Sunny Lane. Is there any way that we can talk to Oklahoma City? I mean, new homes, 112 homes coming in, and just traffic's.
Well, I happen to know through the ACOG process that Oklahoma City does have an impending project to do a resurfacing along Bryant in this area.
Okay.
So I can't exactly tell you when that will happen. It could be several years from now, but it is on the plans.
For resurfacing or
For,
what?
no, resurfacing only.
Okay. Well, that'd be helpful.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, please?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 6 is consider the preliminary plat of Sienna Ridge located in the northeast quarter of Section 12, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being south of Northeast 27th Street and west of Bryan Avenue. Application by Affinity Development Group, LLC, Brandon Waller. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 7-0. This is in Ward 2 as well.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, would you call the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 7 is discuss and consider the renewal of the Public Works Maintenance Contract with Silver Star Construction.
Mayor and council, as y'all are well aware, this is our existing contract for our major street repairs, and they not only work on streets, they work in parks, they work on all public properties, wherever they are needed. And this is actually not only a renewal, it's actually an increase, and it's based off of the current CPI, which is 3.3%, and that would include materials and labor. And we've been under contractual agreement with Silver Star for a number of years, and they provide a quality service to this community, I feel, and staff would recommend approval. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Now, before you sit down, Stan, just so the public kind of knows, I've talked to you a little bit about this, but someone asked me one time about how come we don't just go out and buy equipment ourselves and do all this kind of work ourselves. And after talking with Stan, it would be a pretty costly ordeal for us.
Well, the initial investment, I don't believe we could afford that. And years ago, we were in that business. And we owned a laydown machine, a motor grader, and heavier equipment. And it's sat in the yard more than it was used. And our employees are not geared to do that type of work. And we don't pay for that equipment unless we're using that equipment. There's an hourly rate that's set up in the contract. And the only time we're paying for the equipment is when it's in use on our streets. And I feel like it's a win-win for the city and the contractor because they have the expertise, that's what they do, and it allows us more time to concentrate on our right-of-ways and park system and things like that.
Thanks for explaining it.
Do they do our residential on our tax? Do they do residential overlays that we're doing now?
Yes.
I thought they did. I was pretty sure of that, but I just want to make sure. Everybody loves that's had their street done. You guys done an excellent job on that. I get lots of compliments because of you guys, and I appreciate it because I have nothing to do with it really, except approving the contract. And you guys have done an excellent job. So,
Make a motion to approve.
all right. I think we have one, don't we?
Second.
Do
Oh, yeah.
we?
Yeah, we already had one.
You're
We're,
gonna second it, Robert.
I second the motion.
Figure out who did.
okay.
Oh,
We have a motion and a second, right? Okay,
Right.
would you call for the vote,
Jason
please?
distracted me.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 8 is consider approval of the First Amendment to franchise agreement with Coxcom LLC to extend the term of the franchise agreement for an additional 10 years.
Mayor and council, this item on there, as it says, would, if approved, would extend the agreement with Cox Communications to provide cable television and communication services here in town for an additional 10-year. The original franchise was a 5-year term, which was approved by our voters. Since then, the federal law has changed with regard to franchises and cable operations, and we provided a copy of the Attorney General's opinion in there, and we've looked at that, but the federal law now has, what's the right word, KO, not trumped, preempted, there's the legal term, preempted the Oklahoma law with regard to franchises, and franchises being approved or extended by a vote of the people. So under that provision, then our franchise is due to expire, I believe, in November, something like that. And so we have this on here for you all to consider, and if we're recommending approval, but if there's any questions, Leon Pfeiffer with Cox is here that can address this if you have any concerns, but we are confident in the recommendation.
So really nothing changes, we just,
The terms of the contract are exactly the same as they have been now since the inception of the contract. The franchise fee is 5% and it remains the same. That's the maximum amount that the federal law will allow us to charge. And I think that they provide an excellent service, and we get very few complaints, frankly, from customers, other than whenever they increase their rates, occasionally there'll be some complaints about that. But we refer all those to Cox for their discussion, because the city doesn't control or set those rates. They do, but they have to have an agreement or a franchise to operate within the city limits.
Now, the franchise is basically the right to use the right-of-ways, right?
Yes, that's right.
make motion that we approve.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anybody opposed? Out in the audience. Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 9 is consider approval of a new jobs description for spraying technician supervisor, pay grade 47, updated streets and drainage maintenance worker 2, and parks and cemetery maintenance worker 2, pay grade 43 positions.
Mayor and council, these are not new hires. These positions will be filled internally. They're budgeted positions. And the spraying technician supervisor, the reason behind this position is we need to make a more concerted effort on our spraying program. We initiated that about 10 years ago, and it's really made a significant difference. However, if you don't have the dedicated manpower, it's what seems to be lacking when we get behind when it's rain, wet season. So we're proposing a spraying technician, and they would be doing all of our finished spraying. In other words, we'd still have to use other crews in drainage channels and out east where there's open bar ditches, but we will be spraying year round, and then they would take care that he would be in charge of all of our plantings around town, just weeding and making certain that we have our seasonal flowers and things of that nature. The maintenance worker 2 positions are in both streets, public works, and parks maintenance. That's an existing position that has been in our budget for numerous years. However, the only requirement for a maintenance worker 2 is to obtain a CDL driver's license. I personally have never been comfortable with that, and then we do have an issue. We split these crews up due to the nature of our work. Public Works works in drainage channels and right-of-ways. Our parks maintenance, we've got numerous parks all across town, and currently there is no supervision on these crews. This position would be a working supervisor who would be dedicated to those crews. And there's actually, at the current time, we feel like we need 2 of these in Public Works and 1 of these in Parks Maintenance. And the pay grades, there's currently a drainage maintenance worker 2 is a range 41, and they would move to a range 43.
How much is that?
That's 5%. It's
No, I mean, what's the pay range on, say, like a 43?
I couldn't answer that. I could look it up.
Because it always seems weird that we never put how much the pay is, we just put the range. So,
Help me, Richard or Todd?
Go ahead and go get it. It won't take Jim long to do that. And we can come.
okay.
About 14 or 15 an hour.
That's all I need to know. Thank you. All right.
If there's any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Stan on this, or Mr. Draco on the spraying technician, he's spraying for weeds and stuff, is that right?
He'll be working our right-of-ways, or what we call finished right-of-ways, where we have improved roadways with curb and gutter, and we've done a lot of planting in these areas. He'll be spraying for weed control in those areas. Our cemeteries, all of our public buildings, that's where he'll be concentrating.
I would assume if we sprayed for weeds, it probably makes it longer between mowings, I guess.
It does, and I'm convinced that we don't start mowing, it saves us at least 6 weeks in the spring with our spraying program. Because, you know, the weeds crop out real early, and that Bermuda grass is a little slower. But the bottom line, the appearance is much better. Because you noticed our right-of-ways, unfortunately, the weather hadn't cooperated with us the last 2 growing seasons, but other than that, our right-of-ways look like a lot of people's yards. It's Bermuda grass for the most part.
Will we, creating these positions, we're not hiring new people, just creating the position and filling with staff we already have. Will it, I know we bid out some of that flower bed maintenance for Old Town more. Are we gonna be able to start doing more of that ourselves, or will we still have to bid some of that work out, planting flowers and upkeep and maintenance on?
We'll still bid out some of our work, but with this spraying program, it should be beneficial in those areas like you're talking about. And then down at the Riverwalk area, you know, we've made a huge effort trying to get that under control, and this is the best year we've had with that area. So it'll help in those type of areas, but it'll mainly be in the right-of-ways where our grassy areas are. But this time of year, we'll be in those flower beds, working those flower beds. So it will relieve some of that contractual areas that we currently are under.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 10 is consider a budget supplement to the Moore Economic Development Authority Fund in the amount of $1,500,000 and a GEO Street Bond Fund in the amount of $1,847,431.56 and a general fund in the amount of $272,509.12 and a special revenue fund in the amount of $118,792.07 and a public safety building fund in the amount of $10,503,339.32 and public safety street tax sales tax in the amount of $180,000 for outstanding purchase orders from June 30th, 2012.
Mayor and Council, this item is a request to supplement the current year budget for purchase orders that existed in the prior year. On page 126, all of this is detailed, and the specifics or the detail of all the purchase orders follows on the pages after that. This is a normal process we do each year with these purchases. It's purchase commitments from the prior year that we're going to pay in the current year. And so we ask that you would supplement the budget as it's listed here.
Move to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Just as a matter, just as a point of order, I think, Mayor, you read $1,500,000, but it's $1,500 for the Economic Development Authority.
Oh, I got extra 3 zeros here. Sorry. Anything else? We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 11 is consider a cash operating transfer of $100,000 from the Transportation Impact Fee Fund to the General Fund for reimbursement of payment of engineering fees.
Mayor and Council, it was recently discovered that the engineering fees for the project on Northeastern Avenue, north of 27th Street, was paid for by the general fund. This was a mistake. The rest of the project was paid for with transportation impact fee funds. So we're requesting that you allow this transfer between these two funds, and this will improve the status of the general fund.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yes, it
Move
is.
to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries.
Mayor, if I may, I'm sorry, I just wanted to have Elizabeth just give you a very quick update on the status of that project over there on Eastern, because we were getting some questions about that.
Sure. That is an ODOT project, so they're in charge of doing the bidding and awarding a contract. So they have went out to bid. We are expecting them to award a contract in August, and so we don't know who the contractor is yet. Whenever, and it did come in under budget, I will mention that, if they award the lowest bidder. And so after they award that, we're expecting the construction to start this fall.
Good. Okay. The addendum to the regular agenda was posted. Item 11.1, discuss and consider revised preliminary engineering report on GeoBond project number 5, Broadway, from North 5th Street to North 18th Street, and authorize staff to proceed with either the original design scope, 4-lane roadway, or alternate design scope, 3-lane roadway.
Mayor and council, this is our 5th and last GEO bond project. When we started this process, It was going to be a 4-lane roadway from Northeast 5th to Northeast 12th, and then a 3-lane roadway from 12th to 18th. When the engineers got started on the design, we had problems on that south stretch of roadway, trying to build a 4-lane roadway and sidewalks on both sides of the road. We do not have enough current right-of-way. So you'd have to go back and acquire additional right-of-way to build that project with a 4-lane roadway and sidewalks on both sides. You can build a sidewalk on one side, but not both sides. So the engineers have recommended that we change the scope of the project, and at Northeast 5th and Broadway, signalize that intersection due to the close proximity to both the junior high and elementary school, and then rebuild 5th Street. If you've ever tried to make that turn, if you're southbound on Broadway going west on 5th, it's almost impossible because of the radius. So we'd redesign that and tie that 5th Street return square into Broadway, and it'll soften that radius there on that corner of that intersection. And also build a 3-lane roadway for the entire project. And what we're proposing is a 3-lane roadway with sidewalks on both sides, and that center lane would be a turn lane for traffic both directions. There will also be incorporated into that some islands that we'll landscape in that center area. We'll be limited on the south part due to all the street returns on those residential streets, but we feel like we can get a few in there. I have talked to most of those property owners up and down Broadway, and they're at 12th and Broadway. I've talked to both of those, I call it Broadway DX, but y'all know where I'm talking about. And then the convenience store on the other corner and the 2 businesses south. And we're trying to limit some of those curb cuts and clean that up where it flows. So we're here for direction, and we'd like your input and tell us what we need to build. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Why was the engineer's report not noticed before we did the bonds?
Well, we never promised in that election, Mayor, a 4-lane roadway. What we promised was to rebuild Broadway from Northeast 5th to Northeast 18th.
But it's 4 lanes.
It is on the south end, but it's not a true 4-lane roadway. There's the statutory right-of-way that's always been there, and those lanes are not the normal 12-foot width. And if you drive that much, you know what I'm talking about, because you feel squeezed if you're in that outside lane. So that's the problem with all of that has a lot of foot traffic through there with the junior high and elementary school. There's a lot of walkers, and I see them a lot.
I guess my concern is we paid somebody a whole lot of money to come up with a design that now we're revising after we've issued bonds.
No, we're not asking that. We're just
It
asking
says
for
revised preliminary engineering report.
Just the report.
We didn't do detailed engineering back in 2008 whenever the bonds were approved. We looked at the roadways as they were, and we had estimates from the engineers to rebuild the roadways that were there. We only got into the situation we're in now whenever we did the detailed engineering on this project and realized that our right-of-way was pretty narrow through there, and that we had some difficulties with getting the sidewalks in and so forth. So the revised engineering report is the revision from what the original scope was on the project that the engineers are working on now.
The true engineering has not been done.
The true engineering is being done,
It's being done. Yeah.
We're starting.
and
that
it's
process.
part of what this revision is. Because the original scope, we told the engineers to proceed with the 4-lane roadway because that's what's there now, from 12th to 5th. They came back to us and said, we can't get it in there in the right of way.
But it looks like to me that what we're doing is simply cleaning up what's already there and making a feasible situation of it.
Yeah. So what's your recommendation we do, the 3-lane?
Yes, we are recommending that. We think that the report that the engineers did looked at it from the standpoint of the traffic. There's not a significant amount of traffic over there that a 4-lane roadway would be absolutely necessary. And we feel like with the center turn lane, that'll provide turning movements over there that won't affect the traffic flow. And hopefully, like Stan said, we can get some landscaping in over there and that make it look better than just all asphalt and all sidewalks from that portion from 12th to 5th particularly.
Current traffic counts do not warrant a four-lane roadway. There's not that much traffic on the roadway.
10 years ago, 19th Street didn't either.
Well, that's true.
There's no room to grow over there.
But we can build a four-lane roadway, we just can't build sidewalks on both sides.
Well, that won't affect, I know the elementary school backs up sometimes with parents picking up kids. They're on Broadway. It's not gonna affect that at all, is it?
No, it
I
won't
don't think
happen.
so, yeah.
I don't think they stack up. They
Yeah,
stop
I don't think they
about
go
the
back, they don't go
junior
back that
high,
far, I
I
don't
think.
think, so. Okay.
There's a, and you know, the traffic patterns have changed around these elementary schools.
Yep.
There's problems all over town because parents don't let them walk. And there's no stacking room in any of these elementaries for the parents to pick up their children.
Another thing we did back whenever we put out the information to the public on specifically what would be happening on each one of the bond projects, several of them said reconstruct 4-lane roadway, 5-lane roadway. So we did whatever we said we would do in every one of those cases. With this particular one, we said reconstruct roadway, but the bond issue, the ballot, the language that we put out in the public, to the public, didn't ever say 3 or 4 lanes on this particular roadway.
Do y'all feel confident that, I just as, seems like we, especially on 19th, and Mayor, all the growth and things that have happened there, you know, they go in and build a road, and then 3 months later, you know, citizen, I say, well, they're widening the lane again. And I would think to myself, why didn't they do that the first time? So y'all feel comfortable that we're not gonna outgrow a 3-lane?
It takes something redeveloped, and I can't envision that happening.
Yeah, we're
It's
talking
all,
about the street out in front of us here, and there's not gonna be development occur down through there, so.
there's one vacant corner there on the northwest corner of 12th and Broadway.
Y'all, the traffic light that they're proposing at 5th and Broadway, the study just felt that needed to be there because of the school and children crossing.
It's kind of a blind turn too.
It's a safety purposes. I mean, the traffic counts are not that heavy, but
Yeah.
when you have, there's a lot of walkers to the junior high, more so than the elementary. And I see foot traffic up and down Broadway quite often. And they're always walking out in the lane of traffic. Of course, they're watching and they jump back behind the curb when a car comes, but there's quite a bit of pedestrian traffic through there.
Something to just consider or think about. A lot of these traffic lights that aren't at the main intersections, they seem to break the flow of traffic, and you know, I understand that sometimes they need to be there, but if there's something we could do that maybe not during peak hours, they're not on that cycle, they maybe for example, this intersection we're talking about, the cars on 5th Street, maybe get a flashing red light, and then the north and southbound would have a flashing yellow light during non-peak hours. That it would just not necessarily, you know, you're having to stop and sit there, and that one car pulled up and turned right anyways. And those are just, you know, kind of frustrating. And if there's something we could do to just improve that, to ensure that we continue to have a good traffic flow through there would be beneficial.
Or we could slow down and start acquiring right of way, but that'll get, if you've noticed that, a lot of those properties, they're developed and they've got improvements within the area that we'd have to obtain, and you're gonna be relocating fences, and
It gets real messy.
it could be some structures. on
Yeah,
a
'cause
few
some of the
them.
structures are pretty close to the road.
Yeah, really are. I have a question I have to ask KO for the benefit of the council. In light of the situation where we're doing 3 lanes and we had talked about doing 4 on a bond issue, can we legally still do that, in your opinion?
Well, like city manager said, I don't think on this project there was any promise made to the public that in this bond issue it was going to be necessarily a 4-lane as opposed to whatever could be engineered and rebuilt.
Okay.
And that's what it sounds like to me. And it sounds like the city manager's gone back to look at that promise. We're well within our rights.
Okay.
We do look at it every time, and it's come up a couple of times. One time, whenever we looked at the feasibility or the possibility of doing a roundabout at Main and Broadway. But we went back and looked, and what we told the public we would build is what we built, and that is a intersection with traffic signals down there. That's what's down there. 12th Street that's under construction today is going to be a 5-lane roadway. That's what we said we would build, is going from 4 to a 5-lane roadway. On this one, we didn't specify the number of lanes.
Yeah, I know that, but I had to hear it from you.
I understand. I'm just clarifying what we do.
Okay.
Mayor, that's not a true 4-lane roadway today. It is striped as a 4-lane roadway.
Yeah, but
it's not.
everybody that drives it'll tell you it's 4 lanes.
It is 4 lanes, but
Because
it's
it's
tight.
been that
It's
way
not-
for
it's
40
not made
years.
for it,
People
though.
drive it as
Yeah.
a 2-lane.
Yeah.
Well, just be ready, I think. I was a little bit surprised when we did in front of the old Exchange Bank, you know, that road, I thought that was gonna be 4. And it wasn't. It's nice, and I'm glad it's done, but I just think, you know, you'll have some questions from.
Well, that's a good point. That wasn't a true 4-lane neither, and we made it a 3-lane roadway. And I haven't fielded any calls
Okay,
about
good.
that. But that road was so rough, they're probably just thankful it's.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the change
Okay.
Second.
To a 3-lane road?
to a three-lane
Okay.
roadway.
All right. And Robert, you made the second?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anybody want to speak on it? No? Would you call for the vote?
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item carries. Item 11.2 is consider approval of the lot split located in the southwest quarter of Section 26, Township 10 North, and Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 34th Street and west of I-35. Application by Life Church TV, Community Development.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Life Church has submitted a lot split application. It's for a tract of C3 property in the Riverwalk addition. It's located north of Southwest 34th Street and west of I-35. You do have a copy of a site plan with the different lots shown as numbered, like Lot 1, Lot 2, Lot 3. So Lot 1 is proposed as a 9-acre lot, a new 9-acre lot where a new Life Church will be constructed. Access is proposed from both Telephone Road and the I-35 service road, and city water and sewer do serve this site. Lot 3 is proposed as an irregular lot that abuts the west side of the Riverwalk Channel, contains approximately 3 acres. Access to this tract is limited to, we call it a panhandle of approximately 94 feet that touches the I-35 service road. City water and sewer are available to serve this lot, and it should be noted that this is a tract of an unusual shape, and it's also an unusual location with some difficult access. And this could make future development of this lot difficult. It may also result in a development pattern that the developer had never anticipated, such as rears of a building backing up to the Riverwalk channel, which would then make that a focal point or visual impairment along I-35 corridor. Should note that this lot split is being requested by Life Church in order to obtain a release of deed restrictions on this property, which limit the approved developments to those of a commercial or retail nature. And of course, Life Church is of an institutional nature. Although these deed restrictions are not enforced by the city, they must be released by the other property owners. This is one of the way that Life Church is able to satisfy some of the neighboring property owners in order to get this deed restriction lifted. So although this lot split does technically meet the letter of the law because it does have access to water and sewer, does meet the minimum acreage requirements, staff does see this as a problematic and not necessarily meeting the intent of the city code. We do have panhandle lots, the panhandles that come out to meet I-35 Service Road. And these are considered to be primary access for at least one of the lots, if not perhaps for both of the lots. This does raise a question. ODOT has already stated that they will just give one curb cut for this area. So the question becomes, how will they then branch off of that one curb cut that's allowed to access both lots? And is this an acceptable circulation pattern that the city would like to promote? And again, as I brought up, the development pattern along I-35 is not what we believe that the developer had intended. Of course, he's not here today to speak about this, but it was very clear in the deed restrictions what he had intended this to be a retail development, something that could be seen from I-35 and draw people from the interstate to this area. If you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. I do believe the applicants are here as well.
Well, now, even though there's a lot split, there's really not any anticipated change in ownership of that second lot, is it?
We have been told technically there would be a change of ownership. However, in reality, I think that it would remain under the direction of Life Church. But they have stated that they would like to reserve the ability to sell this lot in the future for development. So it really raises a lot of different questions that really aren't answered.
This lot 3, that's the panhandle?
Yes.
What could go in there? I mean, a lot of the development things we've had, something that could fit in there possibly?
Well, that is a good question. It would be a difficult one to develop. Probably something like an inline retail center. The parking that would be required to go with it would be questionable because of the depth of the lot. It's not very deep. It's only 146 feet deep. By the time you put your setbacks and your building in there, the parking, I'm not sure if you could get the parking in there. So, you know, as far as what C3 would allow, I mean, it would allow for most retail and service-oriented businesses. And C3 also does allow for churches. I should mention that up front, that C3 does allow for churches to be located in it. If they would not request this lot split, we wouldn't be having this conversation today, more than likely, because we would issue them a building permit and they would go in. But because they are requesting the lot split, these are the kind of things that we'd like to look at.
So there'd be a possibility, just based on your experience and your research, that lot could sit empty. I guess somebody would also mow it and take care of it, but it just wouldn't be real attractive for a snow cone stand maybe. I don't know what
Well,
would fit
I
in
mean,
there.
that would be a possibility. We could have a snow cone stand locate in there that wouldn't meet any of our aesthetic requirements and everything else. I mean, that would be an allowable use, and that's one of the questions that we would, that's why we're a little leery of this application.
There's a lot of good things happening on 19th, so I'd sure like to see us develop all of that to its full potential.
I think the guys behind you want to speak.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
If a church goes in, will that prohibit, I've heard that it would prohibit certain businesses from coming in, or?
If this lot split is not approved tonight, yes, that is our understanding, and that's due to the ABLE Commission rules and restrictions, and of course, I'm not an expert in that.
Okay.
I don't really know if anyone is. But yes, that would hinder the future development around that area, because you wouldn't be able to sell any sort of alcoholic drinks, which would limit the types of restaurants
and
that
stuff
we
like that, okay.
are trying to attract.
Yeah, so if it only limited to the extent of food institutions or so forth selling alcoholic beverages, there'd be no other limitations.
Or
Correct.
liquor stores.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brandon Lodge, representing Life Church tonight. I just wanted to clear something up about the lot split. The primary reason for bringing the lot split to you guys, the application, is for the Able Commission requirements. They require a 300-foot buffer between any existing structures or any proposed structures that would have a liquor license and any school or church. That's where this lot split initially came from, was Life Church being proactive to be a good neighbor with existing businesses around there, and the lot is, for lack of a better term, a buffer lot between existing structures and where Life Church is planning on building. They have said that they would consider selling that property for retail use if someone was interested in it, if the city of Moore thought that would be a good thing for the city, but they are also perfectly content to hang on to that tract of land from now on. We've been in contact with the Able Commission, with Karen Tipton, who oversees the city of Moore, and she has told us that as long as the use of that property, that buffer lot, is not being used for church purposes, for meeting facilities for church or school, that it's okay to be the same owner. And so Life Church is perfectly willing to hang on to that land, to mow it, to maintain it, to have it basically as a green space buffer between the channel to the east and the Life Church property. Another thing to note is that the intent of the development was to bring traffic into that area. Life Church, if you're familiar with them at all, brings lots and lots of traffic. We have letters from multiple commercial neighbors at other campus locations that are expressing how pleased they are to be a neighbor with Life Church. An example is at Johnny Carino's down on Walker. Since Life Church has moved in next door to them, they've shared parking. They have not had any issues with parking coming in and out, operating at the same time, and they've become the largest in terms of sales Johnny Carino's in the state since Life Church has moved in, and it's because of the amount of traffic that Life Church does bring in. I think it would be beneficial to the commercial businesses around there. I certainly do not think it would be detrimental at all. And as I stated before, they're perfectly willing to hang on to that property and not develop it if there's an issue of storefronts or anything of that nature.
Why don't y'all choose that location? Or Life Church, why did they bring Kevin?
My name's Kevin Penry. I'm the operational leader at Life Church. We just view it as an excellent location. We feel like it's high in visibility. We feel like it's well served by adjoining streets for both from the west side as well as the east side. Right now we got a lot of more residents that are traveling over to the campus at 79th and South Walker, and we're trying to get some things closer to your folks that are attending from this area. What I would like to express is that we're very, very conscious of being good neighbors and positive contributors to the community. I chaired a planning commission for 7 years, and I understand all the concerns that face city bodies, and we realize that we're taking up some space that might otherwise be tax-producing space, and we realize that's a reality that we face no matter where we go. We've successfully navigated our way through that process at 79th and South Walker with Oklahoma City, at Northwest Highway in Rockwell with War Acres, in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and we hope now also in Moore that you'll give us the chance to prove that we can be a successful contributor to the community and a good neighbor to retail adjacent owners. As Brandon presented to you this evening, the only reason for the buffer strip, and as Elizabeth stated on staff's behalf, it wouldn't even be before you tonight if it wasn't for this. And we realize we have, as it stands now, we have the right to move forward with the purchase, and we are intending to do so. We feel like that there should be a church there, and we've got the contract to buy it. We're not prevented by zoning from building a church there. We realize we've got a deed restriction issue that we've still got to work through. We understand that's not the city's to wrestle with. Our only intent, our only purpose for this, requesting this lot split is to keep from adversely affecting that adjacent property owner by the Able Commission. We work with the Able Commission a lot, as you might suspect, and they've assured us that we can retain ownership to that 300-foot buffer strip, and if the city wishes that to occur, that's what we'll do. We're also open to, if the city would say, you know, what could you do in a retail fashion with that to generate some retail sales and some tax revenue with that strip? We want to do that. We want to be a contributing part of the community, and we're ready to demonstrate that however we can. And so we would just ask you to give us the opportunity to prove ourselves to you.
What are you all proposing to build there, building size and that sort of thing?
We'll build the footprint that we have on the drawing board there. Our typical footprint's about 32,000 square feet. We feel like because of the amount of attendance that we've got from this area presently, that we're going to grow that by about 10%. So we'll be pressing up closer to 40,000 square feet. In that 40,000 square foot, our average weekend attendance at 79th and South Walker right now exceeds 4,000. At that, we feel like at this location that we could readily match that very soon. Lots of folks, lots of traffic, but we handle it well. We've got a letter that I'd be glad to distribute it to you here from the Johnny Carino's owner, praising the job that we do. We're committed to being good partners with the community and our adjacent neighbors, and we've demonstrated that, and we look forward to doing that here as well.
Now, on the South Walker location, you have how many services on the weekend?
We distribute across a lot of experiences. We'll do 2 on Saturday night, 4 on Sunday morning, and 2 on Sunday night. So we achieve that. There would only be in this, the auditorium on the site that I've described to you, would only seat about 1,000 people. So we were able to reach the number of people we reach through an increased number of service opportunities.
I see that letter. What, I'm curious, what do y'all think, other council members, and just was the purpose, the goal, the vision, retail?
That was the goal.
And
I have
more-
an acre less than a block away from that I pay $48,000 in county property taxes that goes to benefit the schools and the libraries. These guys are gonna take that up and they're not gonna pay a dime.
I think what we gotta understand is they have the option of going ahead.
Yeah.
They're simply trying to protect the strip center where Alfredo's is located.
Right.
For the future. So,
But my understanding is the guy that owns that can give that to him anyway. He has that's his choice to waive that?
The deed restriction?
Right.
That's correct.
So my question, I guess, is why are you here? Why aren't you talking to the guy you're buying the property from?
Well, we feel that this will give him some motivation. We don't think that, that he would be in favor of lifting the deed restriction, knowing that it's going to adversely affect his property. And as Kevin.
Yeah, he can't waive the 300-foot rule.
Right. So if Alfredo wants to remodel and expand another 150 feet, they won't be able to do it if you're there.
Not without this lot split.
Well, even with that lot split, they'll be within 300 feet of your church.
No.
Your church property.
No, that's, let me start off. That's the reason for the proposed 300-foot lot 3. It becomes the buffer strip that satisfies Able Commission's 300-foot rule.
And they won't be able to extend west because of the channel, which west is what?
Right.
This solves the Able Commission requirement for all that existing retail strip center that would otherwise be adversely affected by our presence. The granting of this lot split eliminates the challenge for that existing retail center if we move forward as the zoning allows and build the church.
I still don't understand why the guy didn't just waive the the restriction.
He can't waive the restriction. That's the point. Able Commission, I
The
didn't.
able restriction.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you
You're
were
talking
saying.
about the covenant.
The covenants, though,
No, yeah, the covenants are different.
he's not
deal.
waiving the covenants either.
He hasn't yet.
But as far as the tax issue, the same situation, we wouldn't be generating any sales tax if Integris was building a facility there.
Yeah. But we didn't want Integris to build there either, so.
No, but you want Integrity or somebody to build on that south end. And, you know, they own it already. So this is not gonna be any different. But the other part of it is, they may be bringing in 4,000
It
people,
will. That's-
on the weekends to eat and shop in our commercial area.
And that's what our adjacent property owners would tell you. That's the letter from Frinos, and a more recent letter from Frinos, that, where it states that they've risen to the top position. Those folks spend dollars, and the tax dollars results. War Acres trusted us, and we've demonstrated that. Broken Arrow trusted us, and we've demonstrated that. Oklahoma City trusted us, and we've demonstrated that.
And I do remember when, several years ago, when War Acres, was very skittish about, a situation like this and actually denied, one large church the opportunity to, I think, locate pretty close to where you are currently located.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It was, the adjacent retailer was
Yeah.
one that came forward that night and asked the city on our behalf, because they realized the benefit we would have for their business. And though we may not be paying tax dollars directly, I assure you we will bring benefits to the community. We will, and in some instances, direct benefits like we're describing. There will be, those people will buy lunch, they will buy dinner, they will go to the movie, they'll do any number of things, and they'll positively contribute to the community.
Deidre, did you have anything you want to throw in or no? How's that for putting you on the spot? I know, because you said you talked to Able Commission, I guess, a little bit, or no?
Right. Well, everything that you guys have talked about is an actuality. So in order for Anthony Mirzai, who owns the shopping center there, of course, he's trying to protect his property. And he's protecting his property and the integrity of it as a retail shopping center. And the only way he can do this is with a lot split. I can tell you that there's absolutely no assurity that should the lot split be approved, that Anthony will release those deed restrictions. They know they want him to, but I can tell you that in the meantime, and timing is everything, but in the meantime, we have seen some, I guess you'd say, concerted effort from, or an interest from retail, literally within the last 3 weeks, and that is not a secret to us or.
It's not a secret, nor is our commitment to closing deals.
Sure. To them, or it's not a secret to Anthony either. And so Anthony being a shopping center owner, I guess my point is, Anthony certainly cares very much about the area. He cares very much about this user. We care a lot about this user too, and want to see everybody where they're supposed to be. But again, I can't say that there's any surety that should this pass, that Anthony will release those deed restrictions, and or should it not pass, that they still couldn't negotiate with Anthony in a different way, on a different format, and see that their church come to fruition there.
Nor do we know for certain that this retailer A has
Correct.
selected or would select this
Absolutely,
site.
and I have shared that with you all as well. Their interest is there, their interest is in a market, and there are other sites. So there's no 100% surety on anything. There's not even a 5% surety. But I think it's a matter of timing, and it's a matter of, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen? Are there other sites? And you all know how much I care about this and my feeling about something like this as a generator of population, and try to get everybody in there. That would be my goal, is to try to make sure that everybody finds their perfect place, and the place that's meant for them, and the place that we've intended for those folks to go.
So if we were to deny the request, then they can still work with the current property owner and maybe work
Absolutely.
something out.
Absolutely. They would,
Without us.
that's correct.
What I would say is, without this request being granted, when we build the church there, there will not, the Able Commission will not allow liquor licenses in in any retail space within 300 foot from us. With the lot split, the existing retail space would be unimpacted.
But that's assuming that you get those deed restrictions lifted,
Exactly.
and so there's the rub.
And we need 67% from the property owners, we've got 64%.
But the one that would be holding the cards right now is likely not to release those deed restrictions should the lot split not be approved, because then he does
That's the point.
offer his shopping center up for vulnerability.
Well, I make a
It's
motion that,
confusing.
we approve this property split.
Okay, thank you.
Is this what you would be looking to build, something similar to this?
That's our broken arrow aside. You could flip to another one that I would.
Here, just show me out.
Online.
Would there be any way that we could table the item until we do a little bit more research and I think get some more answers? I'd like to see a 300-foot radius, you know, around the area to see what it's going to impact. Is that a possibility?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like that.
How will this impact you guys if we table this to the next meeting? Because I feel like there's still some unknowns, like they were saying, that maybe we might need a little more research on our behalf to learn a little bit more. Will that in fact affect you guys too much?
It impacts us. We'll be closing on this property by August 31st. And if we don't have the answer from you, we'll be doing it in the blind.
Well, we'll have another meeting between now and then.
The 20th is the next meeting?
Yeah. Right now, I know like a couple of us, I have some questions I need to have answered, I think.
So.
What do you think,
Dave has a
David, you made the motion,
to-
David, you want to just vote now, or do you have a?
Well, I don't want, you know, if it takes a delay, but I think it's a good project for the city of Moore. And I hate to see us, turn something like this down, because basically, they're protecting the current landowner, because they could go ahead and build a church, without us approving anything tonight. But they're trying to be good neighbors, really, and to split that lot off so that that property owner is not impacted.
See, I'm under the impression that they can't build right now.
They cannot go ahead and build. Until the deed restriction is lifted, they cannot, because they are prohibited from putting a church there based on those deed restrictions.
No, we would do so in violation of it. If we did so, it'd be in violation of deed restrictions. Anthony's already in violation of those same restrictions. He wants those same restrictions lifted himself. He has a daycare center in the strip center today. That's in violation of the same restrictions that restrict the church. So Anthony's already breaking existing restrictions. He wants the restrictions lifted.
Well, I think this sums it up for me. I'd like to table this motion.
Okay,
Second?
so we didn't get a second.
That's fine, I'll withdraw my
Okay.
clean it up.
We have a motion and a second
Good call, Kathy.
to table to the next meeting, is that correct?
Yes, till the next
to
meeting,
20th.
yes.
Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item is tabled to the 20th.
Hey, guys, this isn't, we're not trying to shut you down or anything. We just have questions we have to get answered, so.
I appreciate the opportunity, the venue. You guys have been great, the conversation's great. I appreciate the tabling, and we're still within our days.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, we understand the process. We want to be a positive contributor to you.
Yeah, and we just want to make the right decision here too,
We
so.
understand that. You've done very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting. Item 12 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Public Works Authority meeting held July 16, 2012. Item B is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2011-2012 in the amount of $1,043,798.04 and FY 2012-2013 in the amount of $612,950.84.
motion.
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on these items? Everybody get their claims questions answered? Any notes or changes to the minutes? Would you call for the vote, please?
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 13 is considered budget supplement for the Risk Management Fund in the amount of $7,000 and the MPWA Fund in the amount of $10,720,176.05 for FY 2012-2013 for outstanding purchase orders from June 30th, 2012.
Chairman and trustees, this is the same type of item as number 10 above. The vast majority of this one is for the wastewater treatment plant construction, and it's the same request to carry over purchase orders from the prior year to the current fiscal year.
Move to approve?
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 14 is a consent docket. Item A is accept the minutes of the regular Moore Risk Management meeting held July 16th, 2012. Item B is approve payment of a workers' compensation settlement in the amount of $66,877.15 plus secured interest to Carrie Andrews for claim number WC 2011-05299F. Authorize placement on the property tax rolls and supplement the budget accordingly. Item C is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2011-2012 in the amount of $307,452.52.
Make a motion to approve?
Aaron, what's that for? Can I ask that? I mean, we have the person's name there, $66,000?
I don't know.
All we can discuss in the open session is that it's a workers' comp settlement that was ordered by the Workers' Compensation Court.
Okay.
He can probably tell you afterwards. I don't know.
Actually, you can't discuss anything on the consent docket, right?
You could pull it out and
Yeah, you can pull
discuss it
up.
as a separate item if you wish, but I could only tell you what I just told you in public.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second.
No second.
Oh, we don't have a second?
Second?
All right, thank you. Would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
No.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Risk Management meeting and reconvene the city council meeting. Item 15 is new business. Item A is citizens forum for items not on the agenda. There's no one signed up. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. Item B is items from the city council or trustees.
Any update on 12th Street?
I'm sorry?
Work on 12th Street, any update?
Stan.
Did y'all find out AT&T line and all that stuff?
All the utilities that were in conflict have been relocated, and as you can see, we're laying concrete on the south side. And right now, we're talking to those merchants there between City Avenue and Northmore Avenue, trying to work out a way we're gonna have to close access off of 12th Street. And our goal is to make sure while that roadway's closed that we have workers present. So we're working on that. We've pretty well worked on the east end over there. We've got that in good shape. So we're making progress.
Stan, I just want to say thank you for the job that you do. You deal really well with all these people and all their construction problems and the construction crews, and you do an excellent job. I just want to tell you thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
I have a couple items. I'd like to say thank you to Target and the police department for the night out the other night. It turned out to be an excellent event. I appreciate those police officers. They were in uniforms out there and it was hot. It was very hot. I appreciate the jobs it did. And I also want to say thank you to the fire chief and all your people that went out and helped put fires out all over the counties. And it's nice to be able to have a department that we can actually go do that and help people when they used to have to come and help us out on a little bitty fire. So very proud of you guys.
And we
That's
also
all I
had, the police department was out there.
I was gonna actually
Oh.
I'm gonna give an update on
Okay.
what we actually
Okay, that's item C.
did out there. So, let me also point out that the, actual National Night Out is tomorrow night, am I right? The event the other night was kind of the pre-National Night Out kickoff.
Primo
So
night.
tomorrow night is whenever we would, ask you all if you can to come out and join us and, ride out, perhaps if you'd like, and visit some of our neighborhoods. Good time. But yes, we did, have some involvement with the fires. I too am really proud of our guys. As far as the fire department's concerned, we had about 230 man-hours involved in fighting those fires down there. We had 2 brush units down there basically the whole weekend, starting Friday afternoon and through yesterday. Gary himself was down there virtually all weekend serving as PIO for the incident command down there, and did a great job with it. So again, it is nice to be able to send people out to help the other crews. We did have also 16 police officers that went down to kind of spell the sheriff's department, I believe, for just a little bit, 30 and a half hours, man hours, so not a significant period of time, but several officers involved in helping with the, I guess, the barricades and that sort of thing, from what I understand. So that was great to be able to do that. And Gayland also was involved, and he spent 9 hours on Friday and then 11 hours yesterday down in various capacities working at the command center down there. So we're proud to be able to do that and help our neighbors down there. Want to remind our citizens and ask for their cooperation with regard to our water situation. There is the mandatory odd-even water rationing in place. We do have our inspectors out looking at this and responding to complaints, and we will ask you to go along with or obey the odd or even if we find that out or if we get a complaint. We're doing this obviously because the entire metro area is under these restrictions based on Oklahoma City and all of us being purchasers of water, but we're also doing it for common sense as well with the drought situation that there is currently, making sure that we have drinking water, of course, and also water to fight fires should we have something like they had down in southeastern part of the county. So, and we also had 2 or 3 events over the last 2 or 3 weeks that our police department was very involved with. The Chick-fil-A protest and counter protest and this and that last week that we had a significant involvement with that. And the Westboro protesters were out a couple of weeks prior to that and had a significant involvement with that. But the good thing is there were no incidents or no problems in any of that. So that was new, I think, to a lot of common sense by our citizens and also great work by our police officers. So,
Good job.
Yeah. Excellent.
that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, you said executive session, we're
Mayor,
tabling it?
yes, sir, we'd ask for you to table that
Right.
issue tonight.
Anybody want to make a
Make a
table?
motion to table item 16.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you both. We have a motion to table and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item is tabled. Item 17 is adjournment.
So move.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Would you call for the vote, please? There'll be no discussion.
Okay. Jason Blair,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Robert and he made the motion. Who seconded it?